So we're going to switch gears for a sec, and we want to talk about something that's really near and dear to your heart as well as it is mine, in Love and Love. Love is Love. Where did the,
Am I hitting the right camera?
Yeah.
There you go.
It is Eisner Award-winning.
Debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, the creators you have on the project, it's mind-blowing. The fact that 2 publishers are like, we want this book and we have to have it. And it's a testament to the message behind it and the overall love and compassion that's in the book. Tell me where the idea kind of came from.
Well, the morning of June 16th, 2016, I woke up and read about the massacre at the Pulse nightclub and was just literally physically sick about it, because it was just, we become sort of desensitized to shootings, but 50 people murdered for just going and being themselves and having fun. The fact that the guy that did that was more likely than not a closeted guy who was raised in a very Orthodox family and an abusive father. And he hated himself so much that seeing other people enjoy the life he thought he could never have, that was his reaction to it. That makes me profoundly sad. And I didn't want to do a book about gun rights or about mental illness. I wanted to do a book called Love is Love, because these people were killed because they were just sharing love. I want everyone to be in love. It's like, I want everyone to be healthier than I am and smarter than I am and be in a great relationship, because it makes everyone's life easier. I think everyone, it's like the tagline from Moulin Rouge, the movie. There is nothing, it is best to be loved, to love someone and be loved in return. So I reached out, and I got home that day. Ironically, it was Gay Pride weekend in LA, and I don't really do that much anymore because that's more of a young person's game. And Paul Dini and his wife called me and said, "Oh, we heard about this. Are you okay? Do you want to? Let's go to Gay Pride." So we went. They took me out, and before I went out, I said, "We should do something." I just Facebook messaged, "We should do something. If we want to do a charity comic book, I'll organize it." Because I'm a child of We Are the World and Live Aid and that.
Michael Jackson,
and all these different organizations, all these different diverse artists getting together for a noble cause. And I got home that evening, and there were like 75 emails for me about saying I'm in. And Diane Nelson, the former president of DC Entertainment, called me and said, "Whatever you need, we're in." Chris Ryle called me and said, "Whatever you need, we're in." And then I was like, "Oh shit, sorry, oh crap, I have to do a comic book." And then 6 months later, we had this, and it's raised over $200,000 for the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. We're keeping it in print. So the crisis-based charities are only for a certain period of time. So because we're keeping it in print and it still resonates with people, this year we're giving money to the Trevor Project, which is an LGBT teen suicide hotline. It's a great organization. It's named after a short film called Trevor that Jodie Foster produced that won the Oscar for short film. And we're going to be giving them a check that is, I can't talk about the amount here because I think we want to tie it in so we can goose more sales for the book. But the amount of money we're giving them is an insanely high amount of money, which warms my heart. And there are 7 foreign editions around the world. I was telling you off camera, Dan Jurgens just sent me a message. He was in Paris at a convention, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I signed 100 copies of this book."
Wow!
So it's become a global thing that will live long after I'm dead and gone. And it's got J.K. Rowling let us use Harry Potter and Jim Lee drew it. Patty Jenkins wrote the introduction. Taran Killam, Patton Oswalt, Matt Bomer, Mark Millar, Grant Morrison, Brian Bendis. I mean, it's crazy the amount of people that did this. Yeah. And less than 6 months after the shooting, this book was on the stands. And now I look at it and go, wow, what was I thinking? But it's a testament to the almost 600 people that volunteered their time and effort, and especially to Jamie Rich and Sarah Gatos, who were the editors at the time on the project. This book wouldn't exist without them because they're both editing 10, 12 projects at a time, and they stayed off hours on their own dime and worked tirelessly on this book. So it's nice to have something good come out of something so bad.
Absolutely. It's interesting, like sometimes it's very easy to get caught up in the darkness, and sometimes you don't realize that there's light that comes out of the darkness. It's like, people get sad for a reason, because when people get sad, people get drawn close to them and are asked if they're okay, and sometimes that's needed for people. If you could be happy all the time, it wouldn't be.
Also, what is so great about the book is it's made me realize how little things can positively affect someone in ways you don't know. I try to be, since doing this book, I try to be nice to at least one stranger a day, whether that's holding a door for someone or paying for their coffee at Starbucks, or just saying, oh, you look nice, or just chit-chatting. Because I know times when I've been in a dark mood and someone will say, hey, I like your work. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, well, thank you. And it's truly the pebble in the pond. The ripples go. And I've heard from, myself, and so many of the people that contributed from this book have heard these stories that are just so flattering. Isn't really the right word, overwhelming, because, I've talked to parents and people who lost loved ones at this, and they're so grateful for the book. And I'm just like,
wow.
Your welcome isn't right, because it was done mostly selfishly for me, from a place of me processing my grief and frustration with the
world.
The guns and the violence and the hate here. And I've had kids who said the book has helped them realize when they get out of their hometown, they can have a life. I've had suicidal kids reach out to me and say it's helped them. Their story. You talk to anybody who contributed to the book, and I'm sure they have a story. So it's a privilege to be able to impact someone's life positively. And,
Absolutely.
And this has impacted lives all over the world.
And to inspire hope is something that's really divine, and it's really something that a lot of people need. And sometimes you don't realize that little hope could make the difference between.
Oh, and it's worth more than all the money in the world, because I think in my own life of the times when someone did something seemingly insignificant for them that had a huge impact on me. I've gotten to become friends with Walt and Louise Simonson over the years, and at Baltimore Con this year, the Hero Initiative gave me the Dick Giordano Humanitarian Award for this book, which I didn't know about until like 10 minutes beforehand.
Wow.
And Wheezy presented the award to me, and I was just thinking if my 13-year-old self knew, and I was sitting at a table with Denny O'Neil, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But Walt, years ago when he was first doing Thor, was at a comic convention in Cleveland, and I was like 13, and I went up to his table, and he talked to me for half an hour. He didn't talk to me like an adult talking to a child or a pro talking to a fan. He talked to me like a person. And every time, every time I see him, I bring that story up, and I say, I know you don't remember this, and nor should you. But that moment, I wouldn't be who I was today if that moment, that half hour with Walt Simonson, didn't happen. So I try to pay that forward when people come up to me who are fans or want to be in the business, to talk to them like human beings.
Yeah.
I've never liked being talked at. I like having conversations
Absolutely.
with people. So it's just a matter of, and I'm too lazy to be angry all the time. It takes so much energy. Life is exhausting on its own. One of my taglines is, if I'm creating drama, I'm getting paid to write it. I don't do it for free in my own life.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. I like going home and being in bed by 10 with my dog and watching a movie and, having some tea or reading a book. That's fine.
Yeah.
The drama
You can
can stay on the pages.
Exactly.
Life throws enough at us to overly complicate things. So that was a weird tangent. I don't know what the original question was. So
No, it's very true.